So what do you get when you remove Paul W.S. Anderson, all those live-action gimmicks, and a plot that has nothing to do with its original source material? You get Resident Evil Degeneration. Resident Evil Degeneration is Capcom's first attempt at creating a fully CG motion picture of a storyline that actually ties in with the storyline of the video game franchise. Now, this movie came out in 2008, and the story begins with Claire Redfield arriving at an airport, here to take care of some friend's kid. Soon after that, a zombie comes out of nowhere, and an outbreak in an airport takes place, and it causes the entire airport to be shut down. Leon S. Kennedy is brought onto the scene to handle the situation due to his expertise with the situation, and it is soon after the situation is under control, it is discovered that a terrorist organization has managed to get its hands on some vials or samples of the original Umbrella T virus and threatens to distribute them in several different locations around the United States if the pharmaceutical company Will Pharma does not expose the truth of exactly what part that they play in Umbrella's creation of the T virus and all its other human samples, and led to the ultimate destruction of Raccoon City. Now, I will say this. This is definitely better than anything that has come out from Hollywood because it actually sticks true to the original concept of the Resident Evil franchise, and it still carries that feeling very well. Another thing that it also does right, I would say, for the whole airport scene, that definitely feels a lot like the real Resident Evil that we all know and love. And the second half kind of goes more into an action-orientated section, which is kind of reminiscent to the direction of where Resident Evil is going, which is always a good mix. You show where Resident Evil was, and you gradually go into the direction Resident Evil as a franchise is going. And I thought that was a great mix. And I also like the look of the G-Virus monster, which is actually done in this movie. I thought it was a very well done fight, and it definitely would have been worthy to have been put in a video game. But maybe we'll see that in the future. As much as I enjoyed this film, I have to acknowledge that there were a number of problems that I had with it in terms of overall CG look, storyline, and just a couple of side plots that had really nothing to do with the story. First off, the CG in this isn't bad, it's just not quite a par to where it should be. For those of us who remember the old TV show from Cartoon Network called Max Steel, it's a lot like that animation, just a little bit more detailed. It's not nearly as good a CG as it is in, say, Final Fantasy Advent Children from Square Enix, and seeing as how this movie came after, you would expect it to have better CG. Another thing I didn't like was a little side story on the side that dealt with this cop and her brother who were somehow involved with the whole Raccoon City incident, and they try to throw a little love connection in there, and it's just a waste of like 15 or 20 minutes, which could have been used to developing the villain, which you only see twice in this whole movie, and he's very underwhelmed. And the biggest injustice that Degeneration has is that it kind of shows Claire off to be rather weak. I mean, this is a character who did just as much in Resident Evil 2 as Leon did, and she's portrayed to be, and they quote, not a fighter, which she clearly is. And she's only used to buy some time while Leon is doing the serious action which we all came to see. Despite my flaws and gripes with it, this is still a very good film and a must-own or must-watch for any true Resident Evil fans out there. And I would give Resident Evil Degeneration a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely higher than I would rate any of the live-action films, but maybe we'll do better. If you like this review, please like, comment down below, and subscribe to top to keep track of me and my future movie reviews. And please join me on September 25th when I review the sequel to Resident Evil Degeneration, Resident Evil Damnation, which looks even twice as good as this movie, and I'm hoping will be the action-packed adventure or suspenseful adventure that I will need getting pumped up for Resident Evil 6 coming out on October 2nd. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.